Okay, well, I'm very happy to bring you a special watch profile today. This is the TRN-50. This is the 50th anniversary Casiotron reissue. This is the first of these new series, limited at 5,000 worldwide. And I've had it in hand for a couple days, so I've got an idea of the fit and finish of everything. So I figured I'd do a quick little review of that. The operations are pretty well known. Really, they're it's a different screen layout, different segments. It's a smaller, it's a shorter and more narrow screen, but it's basically the same as the B5000's 3459 module, and so it has Bluetooth, LED backlight, multiband 6, etc. So I already know how the operations of this go pretty well. But I also have a 02501, otherwise known as a QW02-11S. So I figured I would put them side by side. This particular model, I believe, is really a sort of homage to the QW02-15S. And when you're looking at these older Casiotron models, you'll hear a couple different numbers referred to as the model number, and it's because Casio was doing some interesting things with their model numbering at this time. But this is a very true to scale reissue of the 0215S, and here is my (0214S). Now, I refer to this most of the time as the 02501 because you'll see on the dial there's a number. It says 02501 Japan. On the back, set this down a moment. You have the triangular sort of that's the top-down profile of the Casio headquarters at the time, and you see it. So it says on three sides it says Casiotron stainless steel and 02501 Japan. And in a lot of these cases, you have the case back number, you have the dial style number. I call it the dial style number. I don't know. There might be terms that Casio used at the time, but frequently those won't quite be the same. Well, they won't be the same. For example, like you'll have one that's 01514, but the case back style would be 01502 or something like that. But then they also all had Casio model numbers that you'll find if you see catalog ads of these that are all like QW 01 15S, etc. So now, but that model number, was never, those were never ever stamped on the watches anywhere, and instead you'll see these 02501 etc. numbers. So it's kind of an interesting thing Casio was doing at the time. It's a little odd, but that's so it is. The 02 module had no backlight. It had very uniquely, it had running seconds tracked in a sort of 10 seconds segments along the top, like you see here. Very interestingly, the other early models, they all would only have a single digit, and they would also be blinking. And these early ones, they all blinked for the full 10 seconds. Later models would behave differently. And then these also, if you see, these stack. So right now we're between 59 and 60 seconds there. And now you see we're between 0 and 9 seconds. And they stack, which none of these other ones did. And also they don't blink at all. The only indication you have that the watch is running is the blinking colon there. And then you also have your PM indicator in the corner here. And for the day, they also stack. So it being Saturday, when I'm recording this, it's stacked all the way up to there. If it was Thursday, they would be stacked just up to these. And then you also get the month and the date. And it has other models like the 01 has two adjust buttons, one for correcting the for errors up to 30 seconds, and then another, which would be like the top left, for really adjusting the watch. Scooby? I'm sorry, that's mine. He's about to jump into the light box here. But I haven't adjusted this for daylight savings time, and also this runs slightly fast. Although I'm not gonna. It has a trimmer, but I'm not gonna ever touch it. I'm happy enough that it's running like 3 seconds fast a day. But so the only adjustment for this is to start a full adjustment on it, and then it does remember the time entered, but like other ones, it'll increment up, so it's, oop, gosh, sorry. So you start the adjustment, and then it starts with hours, and it'll go through to PM. I've saved us from going through, 23 hours by going ahead and adjusting that, and then it switches to the minutes, tens place, and we're still at 47 minutes, but we're coming up on 48. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this get to 48, and I'm going to hit the select pusher here, and then that's going to set the watch for 5:48, but it won't be running until we press the button here. So let's get these side by side, and then when we hit the select pusher here, there we go. Now the colon is blinking and the watch is running, and it's synchronized to our trusted time source. So these are really like a one feature watch. Well, I mean, they have the time, the date, and the day of the week, had running seconds, and I've seen people say that this would also adjust for a leap year, but you do not set the year, and so it absolutely cannot account for a leap year. These simply adjust for the number of days in regular months. But the proportions of the watch really well match with the TRN-50. The profile is very slightly different, but it matches really well. If you notice, even down to very cool details like the end links. So you see, this one is a lot like the more common end links, and I don't know if this is just particular. Well, I'm certain it is particular to this model. I don't know what it means. This one is a very odd end link that doesn't match the rest. This this particular one is missing some common links, and it had apparently some repair done on this side of the bracelet, so I'm not sure if that's related, but these are not unmatching. These are, you know, all of the rest of the finishing matches. So this one is an early Casiotron link, but end link, but I'm not sure what it is. But the more common ones are these. On most of these, you'll see it's two of these type of end link, and they match, and they're kind of like the spring bar in this one is a little bit all worn out, but you can see they actually are held in place out. They don't swing in the lugs there, and that's an interesting little point that they reproduced on the TRN-50. And then also you'll see they pretty well mimicked the type of those common end links. But they did also match the bracelet finishing pretty well with, I mean, this one is 50 years old and very well worn, so it's got, but these were originally polished with brushing on the side, and that's what they've reproduced here. It was a stamped clip down style clasp with, pretty typical amount and number of micro adjust. Of course, it would have come with, a longer, both sides of the bracelet would have been the same. So the close side, the 6 o'clock side would be, like a full bracelet on most of them. And down to like the fluted chapter ring and the applied branding matches very, very well on these. It's a little more obviously connected on the original, and I'll try to just get these at a a variation of angles and light and whatnot, so you can just get an impression of how close these are. Now, I have measured these with calipers myself, and I keep getting some various, or I've seen some different reporting on the sizes of these, but I get 39.3 wide, lug, yeah, so 42.3 lug to lug, 12.6 thick on the, and again, like I'm so used to calling it the 02-501. Sorry, I guess Casio's catalog at the time would have referred that as the QW02-11S, and then with this one we get here, let's start with the case here. I get that at 39.2, lug to lug at slightly longer, actually, lug to lug. And then I've heard people say this is like 3 millimeters more narrow, but I get it at 1.2 or 1.1 millimeter thinner, 0.1 millimeter more narrow, and then the original being just slightly shorter too. So, but so my overall, like, impression is this is a really, really nice made homage in terms of like the case and the finishing and whatnot. All of the proportions are really great. They feel, it feels fantastic. But with reissues, with a watch like this, you know, if somebody just if they just gave us a reissue with just the functions of the 02, I think a lot of fans would be sort of like, I don't know, put off or upset by that. I personally would feel great about that. I'd love that. Even if they went down to like the very, very small details of the stacking second segments, that would be really cool. I would love to see that. But they want to pack some more features in there, and you know, please, you know, most of the base. And I think, you know, from a you know, commercial standpoint, that's the correct decision. So they've got you know, all of the, like I said, all of the features of, you know, the modern full metal squares and their 3459 module, or you know, also the same as the newer models. Gosh, I don't know the module number off the top of my head, but they've they're using a new one now. So oh, is it the most interesting thing about it so far to me is that you have all of the basic functions. You know, it all works the same, but all of the pushers are you know, exposed compared to, you know, having the shrouded pushers of the you know, the squares, and that makes it, you know, quite a bit easier to use, and you know, easier to hit the buttons, having them being fully accessible. And the you know, the screen, I think they, you know, again, made the correct decision and, you know, made that slightly smaller. They kept the, you know, the indicators for the different modes and features. You know, they're mimicking the sort of dart-shaped segments of the segments of the original series, and that's similar also to the 90s reissues, Casiotron, the TRN 100s, etc. And I do have a 90s reissue, and I might put all three of these side by side too. And then naturally on the new model, they gave you the this cool case back, and then all of them are also numbered, and this one is 3888, which I think is very cool. And then I'm not sure if this light is not coming on because okay. Oh, it's just not. Okay, so the light is coming on, but I think it's not in the vent hood because it's so bright. I don't know if this module just doesn't engage the LED at all when it's. That's very, very interesting. I've only noticed that just now while I'm recording this, literally. So that's very, very interesting. The LED backlight, of course, does work. It's like a nice cool blue, although it doesn't seem to work, but only when it's in the vent hood here. So I think that might be something to keep people from running the battery down while the light is like while the watch is in direct sunlight. Interesting. I'll have to review the manual and see. They almost always tell you about stuff like that in the manual. So anyway, there is the TRN-50 side by side with a 02501, otherwise known as the QW02-15S homage with a QW02-14S. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed it.